Hi everyone, welcome to Tuesday's TNT, checking out all the main news stories from around Thailand. Very happy to report that we're not talking about visa exemptions, we're not talking about cannabis, and we're not talking about foreigners behaving badly. Actually, there is one story with a foreigner behaving badly, but hope you're having a good Tuesday so far. Let's get stuck into the program. We do this 5 times a week, a daily look at the main Thai news stories. Saturdays we have a live program, and well, for the near future we're having a bit of a rest on Sundays from the Grumpy Old Men program, but we'll probably throw in some bits and pieces from time to time into the Sunday slot. Let's get on to today's news. We were speaking about scams on the Saturday live program the other day. This is not so much a scam, it's just breaking the law, but it's something that in the tourist towns in particular, we really need to look out for. And Council English reporting a Russian arrested in Pattaya for 280,000 baht counterfeit euro scam. Well, they're calling it a scam. And immigration officers arrested a Mr. Kazanov, a 29-year-old Russian suspect in a hotel room in South Pattaya, Nong Pru. They seized counterfeit euro banknotes, 140 pieces of 50 euro notes, totalling 7,000 euros, and that's nearly 280,000 Thai Baht. And the arrest followed a tip from a currency exchange booth about a foreigner tricking a Thai person into exchanging 50 euros, valued at 20,000 baht. And the exchange was successful and the money was with this foreigner. When I was in Kazakhstan a couple of weeks ago, exchanging US dollars into Kazakh tenge, they were really giving those US dollars a full once-over under the UV light, holding up to the light, giving them a crinkle, which is what they need to do. Apparently, Mr. Kazanov arrived in Thailand on May the 29th and was scheduled to leave on July 9. He claimed the counterfeit notes belonged to a friend in Turkey and produced there. He said he'd previously successfully exchanged fake euros in Thailand, valued at 400,000 baht. And to add salt to the wound, officials discovered the foreigner had overstayed his permitted duration in Thailand beyond the date allowed on his visa sticker and entry stamp. Sort of guessing the reason he'd overstayed his visa was he was having quite a lot of success exchanging those fake euros into Thai Baht in other parts of the country. And to our next story, we head to the Bangkok Post and the Prime Minister to announce all details of the handout scheme on July 24. What is the handout scheme? Well, if you don't already know, we'll get to the details in a moment, but probably doesn't include you. And the Prime Minister says he's going to announce the complete details of the government's digital wallet handout scheme on July the 24th. And the details will include the list of products that the digital money recipients can buy and the dates when the potential recipients and vendors can register to participate in the project. And the Finance Minister didn't think recipients would be able to use the digital money to buy mobile phones and electronic devices. However, the list of eligible products had yet to be concluded. He said the money transfer for people's spending will begin in the fourth quarter of this year as planned. And he confirmed that the handout project would cost the state 500 billion baht and would not be downsized. It would be funded from the 2024-2025 budgets and a 170 billion baht contribution from the Bank for Agriculture and Agricultural Cooperatives. And under the Digital Money Project, the government plans to hand out, 10,000 baht each to 50 million people aged 16 years and older. But before you get too excited, individuals must be Thai citizens with an income not exceeding 70,000 baht per month or 840,000 baht per year. Recipients can spend the money within the districts listed on their ID cards. And for the Thais living in Phang with their digital handout later this year, they can stay at a beautiful beach house for that sort of money for 3 or 4 days. Also like to thank our other sponsor, 5-Star Marine at 5starmarinephuket.com. So yeah, if you can stay at the beach house, then head down to Phuket and head out onto Phang Bay. So please support our sponsors. So a bit of a moral quandary now when it comes to the Myanmar issue. Certainly those of us that support any moves towards democracy, a return of the democratically elected government, would be concerned with this story, but it sort of makes sense. The BangkokPost.com reporting Myanmar rebels flooding Thailand with meth. And armed ethnic groups are producing more illicit drugs to traffic in or through Thailand to finance their fight against the forces of the Myanmar government. This according to a senior Thai army officer. And he said the rebels needed the money to buy weapons and support their fighters. Well, if you think about it, all these rebel groups, all these gangs that are trying to get rid of the Burmese army and the current military government, you sort of got to wonder where they get their money. So this does have a ring of truth about it. And a drug task force had seized 151 million methamphetamine pills so far this fiscal year, and that's a leap from 42 million the same period last year. And they also confiscated 256 kilograms of heroin, 1,350 kilograms of crystal meth. That's a lot of ice. And the unit arrested 347 suspects and killed 29 traffickers during clashes along the border. And the task force takes care of the northern Thai-Myanmar border in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Phayao, Nan, Uttradit and Phitsanulok provinces. And that's around about 933 kilometres. Armed ethnic groups came together to fight the government after the Myanmar armed forces staged a military coup in 2021, seizing power from the democratically elected administration of Aung San Suu Kyi and the National League for Democracy. Well, as I said, somewhat of a moral quandary there. Of course, we'd all like to support the rebels in their efforts to try and restore democracy in their country. But we also don't really want all those cheap drugs flooding into Thailand. So somewhat of a moral quandary. We'll move on to our next story. And this also from the Bangkok Post. The Election Commission denies dragging out Senate results. And you get the feeling that the more they say they're not dragging it out, the more they probably are. And the Election Commission brushed aside criticism that it was dragging its feet in announcing the certified result of the election for 200 new senators after an almost 2-week lapse since the June 26 vote. The EC chairman yesterday said there are several issues that must be addressed first. A source at the Election Commission said if the result was not announced today, it would likely be deferred for another week when Mr Ittaporn returns from planned leave. So let me get this right. You're the Election Commission chairman. You've known about this new Senate vote for a number of years. You've known the exact dates. You knew there'd be a few questions after the election about some irregularities here or there that needed to be cleared up, and you've decided to go on holiday. Brilliant! And the Election Commission's under pressure from the Senate election winners and losers. One's already demanded the agency endorse the results to prevent the existing Senate from remaining in its position, while another called for it to investigate alleged fraud and questionable eligibility rulings. And several former candidates on Monday threatened to file a malfeasance complaint against the Election Commission if it rushed to announce the result before their complaints about irregularities are heard. Meanwhile, the outgoing Senate yesterday voted 101 to 10 with 17 abstentions to set up a 23-member panel to investigate the Senate poll. And the panel has 30 days to complete its work. Now, hang on. If you add 101 plus 10 plus 17, you get 128. Hang on. There's 250 senators. Where's the other half? Well, maybe they've gone on holiday with the Election Commission chairman. It's the TNT program on the 9th of July. Just wondering how you get from the airport to where you're staying, whether you use Grab or Bolt, or whether you get a taxi. Do you get one of the airport taxis, heaven forbid? What about buses? Do you take the buses? I always find the buses a bit hard to find where they go and what time they're leaving. A bit easier, I think, at Suvarnabhumi than some of the other airports. But looks like there might be another player. And again, Bangkok Post reporting bus routes to link airports. And the state-run bus operator Transport Company will launch bus services to 3 major airports run by the AOT and open ticketing offices in an effort to allow seamless travel to destinations in other provinces. They plan to operate the interprovincial bus services from Suvarnabhumi, Mueang and Phuket airports. They're expected to start towards the end of this year. The so-called feeder buses will serve mainly principal cities, tourism hotspots and some secondary provinces. According to the company, the services will boost tourist arrivals, which will in turn increase economic activities in the provinces, which is in line with the government's goal to revitalise local economies. So the operator of the interprovincial buses thinks that suddenly they're going to become a tourist attraction? Boost tourist arrivals. I'm not sure if anybody's going to be rushing into the country just to travel on an interprovincial bus. Now, I have travelled on the interprovincial bus all the way from Phuket to Bangkok. That was overnight. It's a long way in a bus. Let me tell you, it was perfectly comfortable, perfectly clean, but I'm not going to be rushing out to do it anytime soon. I certainly wouldn't be coming to Thailand just to go on an interprovincial bus. But some good news, I've got a job for you. Now, even if you're a foreigner living here and you don't have a work permit, this is something that you could do. Reported in thepattayanews.com, Pattaya Tourist Police volunteers now recruiting. Okay, you're going to be a volunteer, so for those people who are retired, got a bit of spare time, this could be an interesting job. I do rate the tourist police. They're certainly the first port of call if you get in any trouble in any of the main tourist areas. Often there's people with different languages and you'll be able to get the problems sorted out in a sort of Thai way that's going to keep everybody happy. Let's see what you need as far as qualifications are concerned. And the Pattaya Tourist Police Station is recruiting tourist police volunteers from today until the 15th of July. You've got 6 more days. You're going to have to be more than 20 years, be a person of Thai nationality or a foreigner who has legally entered the kingdom. So you're going to have one of those renewable 1-year visas, have a normal domicile or place of residence in the Pattaya Tourist Police Station area, not a person lacking in good morals or behaviour that should be suspected of being related to drugs. Okay, well that's going to knock out a few people. And you'll need to produce a copy of your passport, copy of your house registration, 2 passport-sized photos, a copy of documents showing educational qualifications, training, special abilities, if any. And foreigners will need a certificate of conduct from the embassy. So I suppose that means the embassy is going to have to vouch for you, saying, oh yeah, they're a good person, they haven't been involved in any illegal activities. So good luck if you'd like to apply up in the Pattaya area. I suppose the tourist police in other parts of the country might be looking for some new volunteers as well. Keep an eye out for it. I've known some people who have worked with the tourist police. They've all enjoyed the experience. I think it would be very interesting. And with that, I thank you very much for dropping in today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with some of the things happening around Thailand. And as I said, very happy not to be talking about cannabis or visas or visa exemptions for a change. Have a fantastic, it's Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.